Hi, welcome to FedScoop TV. I'm Billy Mitchell, and today we're at the Juniper Network's Government Innovation Forum, and I'm speaking with Neal Ziring of NSA.
Hi.
Neal, how are you doing today?
I'm good.
It's great to have you here. We wanted to address a couple different topics, but right off the bat, we wanted to jump into the broader topic of the current innovation and digital transformation that's undergoing within the federal government. And particularly, we wanted to look at the past year and what kind of progress has been made. So in your opinion, in your view at NSA, what have you seen happen in the past year?
Well, there's been a ton of stuff. How long do we have again? There's been huge progress, both within 2017 and in the year before that. I'll try to cite a few examples. Within the Department of Defense, which NSA serves, of course, there's been a really interesting initiative going on the West Coast called Defense Innovation Unit Experimental,
Sure.
DIUX. I had an opportunity to visit there earlier this year, and I've been very impressed with how they're working with industry out in that part of the country and informing them about government's challenges and defense challenges and trying to tap into that technology base. So that's really cool. There's been some really interesting stuff going on in the civilian side of government. In DHS, they have an innovation initiative that I've been reading about, and sounds like they're really trying to reach out to innovators across the spectrum, right?
Sure.
Industry, academia, et cetera, and bring those ideas into their Homeland Security mission. Within NSA, we've been trying, we just had a kind of a big restructuring and a big refocus with NSA 21. One of the pillars of that was innovation. So we've been trying to stand up and improve and enhance some structured programs for innovation in our workforce. And then lastly, I've been impressed with some of the things that GSA has been doing in technology transformation for government and in making cloud services accessible to folks within government.
Yeah, of course. One of the topics we hear a lot about that kind of underlies a lot of this ability to innovate and to transform is Agile Development. So I'd love to hear from your perspective why that's is so important to agencies, and for agencies who might be struggling or are slower to it, what they can do to better adopt Agile Development.
Okay, so yeah, Agile Development is essential to innovation because it allows you to jump in with an innovative idea and find out very quickly whether it actually meets the mission need and how it can be adapted to work better with, say, customers, partners, users. Okay. So Agile Development is something NSA has used for a long time. We're always trying to get better at it.
Yeah.
But one of the critical elements that has been important for us, and I think will be important across the government space, is empowering the Agile development with stable platforms. Okay, if you demand that a new development effort build up from the ground up, and that they have to acquire hardware and then a software platform and then build their application on it, that's going to take a long time. If you have a stable platform that Agile developers can just jump on, be it an analytic foundation or a utility compute platform, whichever fits that need, you'll find that a lot of obstacles to Agile development are removed, and the folks doing the development can focus on the mission need that they're trying to meet.
Yeah.
Right? And then, of course, you can support that with, there's a wide variety of Agile development methodologies out there for organizing work into spins and sprints and so forth. And it's important to have a methodology and apply it effectively in your environment.
Mm-hmm. And so I'd like to pivot now a little bit more towards cybersecurity. Obviously, there's a lot being done, but if you can't secure it at the end of the day, it's kind of all for naught. So what steps need to be taken so that, as agencies move to transform their digital services or as they look to innovate, they're also securing the data and the information of the millions and millions of Americans that they hold?
Yeah, so protecting the information that we hold is a really serious concern for every federal agency, and certainly for mine. And NSA and its information assurance mission helps folks across the national security spectrum with exactly that. So, there's literally a lot of things you can do, but I'm going to talk about sort of three specific ones that I'd like to drive home, and that is, first, good cyber hygiene. when you're building up the platforms I mentioned earlier and your basic infrastructure, you have to pay attention to hygiene throughout, right? Patching and use of least privilege and all those sorts of things. And there are plenty of documented lists of those rules, like the CIS Top 20 or the NSA IA Top 10, that agencies can look at and just say, I'm going to do those.
Yep.
Okay. Second, you have to think about how you're going to protect your data. As one of the speakers here at the conference just said, data is the focus of value, both for the agencies that are using it and for the cyber criminals and threat actors who are trying to steal it. So you have to have a strategy for identifying the data that's critical. How are you going to protect it? How are you going to ensure its integrity? And do that as a activity that is focused on the data rather than on the systems themselves. Yeah. And then lastly, compromises in some sense are inevitable. You're never going to run your systems forever and not get compromised at some point. So you have to think in advance about how am I going to limit impact of the compromises that happen and then recover from them. You have to build that into the system design, into the platforms that are supporting your applications, and into your work processes for standing those systems up and maintaining them.
So Neal, just to wrap up briefly, we hear a lot about emerging, evolving technologies, next-gen technologies, and how agencies can adopt them in the near future. I was wondering if there were a couple that you see fit for adoption and how agencies might best go about adopting them.
Wow, so there's a lot of technology areas out there, and it's important for an agency or department to think about how those are going to affect their mission, right? And carefully evaluate, because you can't do everything. There's too many. But I'll try to mention a few that I think are going to have broad impact across the federal and national security space, and hopefully touch on some points about each one. So a first one in sort of the IT space that has been just gaining tremendous traction in the last couple of years has been containerization and the resource management that enables. There are a number of really mature technologies in that space. We've been certainly picking them up and realizing benefit. So if folks are in an IT sort of arena and they aren't looking at containers yet, they probably should. In a bit of a broader vein, right, AI and machine learning are incredibly hot right now. There's a number of technologies coming along with those, and all of us have a lot of data that we need to process to do our missions, and thinking about how we can better triage that data, better put the right stuff in front of human analysts, in some cases even take automated actions on behalf of data or based on analytics that are applied to data, for example, in cybersecurity arena. Tremendously empowering, and I think folks across the federal space need to pay attention to that. And a third one, I'm going to pick one that's a bit further out there, but I think is going to have long-term impact, is what's going on in the space arena with CubeSats and small sats. I think that's going to drive a revolution in the data that we can get about the Earth and the responsiveness which we'll be able to get it, and the kinds of services that we can offer or take advantage of in space. And it's an area that I think if federal agencies want to take full advantage of it, they have to watch it develop and jump in at the right time.
Great. Neal, that's all I have for you. Thanks so much for joining us today.
You're welcome.
Great. For more of our coverage on government innovation, visit us at fedscoop.com. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Billy Mitchell.